Free will doesn't exist. Let me explain. Now, there are two ways to go about disproving the existence of free will. However, before we get further into this discussion, we must first agree upon a formal definition of free will. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, free will can be defined as the ability to decide what to do independently of any outside influence. It is crucial to first note that this is defining libertarian free will, which is free will's most famous conception. What it means simply is that, if given the exact situation 2 times, you have the ability to choose different actions in each situation. Okay, now if we take a moment to assume that free will does indeed exist, this definition entails that every single action we take is independent from extraneous factors. The issue is, these extraneous factors are impossible to avoid. This leads us perfectly into the first argument against free will, which goes as follows. Every single action we make, big or small, is made informed by our life experiences. These experiences draw back to our personal upbringings, which are determined by 3 major factors: where you were born, when you were born, and the family you were born into. Now, may I ask, were any of these factors chosen by you? No, obviously they were not. Whether predetermined by God or randomly assigned by nature, you have no say in the circumstances you were born into. Say you take 2 people that were innately identical in personality at birth and ask them what their thoughts are on the meaning of life. Even though they were identical at birth, due to the differences in their upbringings and life experiences, they would almost certainly have 2 drastically different answers. That's how the first argument goes. Now, let's take a step back for a moment. Maybe you weren't so convinced by this argument because maybe you believe that although we cannot choose the context of our lives, we still have power to make decisions freely with whatever experiences we are given. Good point, right? Well, no, not really, because that's exactly where the second argument comes into play. When we think of exercising our free will, a common example is to say something along the lines of, what if I were to get up from my seat right now and leave the room? Again, we commonly think of something like this as an example of how one might choose to use their free will, but would this actually be exercising free will, or rather something else entirely? When we think of something, what we are really doing is choosing from a list of options that our brain provides for us. Think of it like this. Here we have the handle of the fork. In our analogy, this handle is our brain, which is subconsciously working to provide us with thoughts and ideas. And here are the tines of the fork, which for us are representing the different ideas that our brain is providing us with. It is true that we are in fact making a choice when deciding to do something, but whatever choice we make is just one of the handful of possible choices given to us. Another way to view this theory is to test it out for yourself. So go ahead, take a moment to clear your mind. Next, try to conceive of a random thought. Got it? Good. Now, if you think deeply back to the moment you conceived of your idea, you'll be able to notice that you weren't choosing to think of that topic at all. It just happened to pop into your mind. It is also likely that your brain gave you a couple of other things to think about, but it just so happened to be that you decided to think further into whatever it is you chose. Is this really you thinking independently, or is it, as I am arguing, a choice, but not free will? Okay, let's say you were convinced by my argument and you don't believe in free will. So what? What changes if we don't have free will or do? In his work, Twilight of the Idols, philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche argues not only that free will doesn't exist, but goes further to say that it is a social construct created by religious and political authorities that allows people to be held morally accountable for their actions. Without free will, is a crime truly a crime? To Nietzsche, questions like these cannot be adequately answered by society, which is why the concept of free will was necessary to create. With it, criminals and murderers could be justly condemned, causing free will to be used as a tool of morality rather than an epistemological idea. Now, obviously I'm not saying that since I don't believe in free will, any and all action is justified. But I will leave you with this. Even if free will doesn't exist in an epistemological sense, is it necessary for society to have the concept of free will exist in a moral sense? Thank you for watching. Comment below what topic you want to see next, and please like and subscribe for more. Thank you.